No. Don't put that down. What are you reading?
I'm I'm reading just a little thingy majiggy. It's a small little pamphlet I have.
The Constitution of the United States.
Little
Very
thing
good.
that I like to carry with me everywhere because anytime somebody says I can't do this, I can't do that, I like to throw this on the table and say, educate yourself.
Did our friend Celeste Barber give that to you?
No, not this particular one. Here in DC. I meet a lot of very, very excellent people that do respect the Constitution and do pass this out.
How many amendments are there to the Constitution?
Oh, quite a few, actually.
No, the number is 27, okay?
All right, Mr. Smarty Pants. Okay. Why don't we put your constitutional skills to the test? Would you like that?
Yes.
So,
okay.
I will read to you the amendments of this Constitution, just the title of the amendment, and then you will tell me what they free you from.
Even the stupid ones?
Especially the stupid ones.
All right, I'll tell you when the stupid ones come. Good.
Okay.
That's fun. This is going to be fun. I bet a lot of our listeners out there are going to want to follow along because they have never heard anybody actually get them all right. Okay. I will get them right.
For simplicity's sake, I'll summarize some of them because some of them are
No. I'll do the summary. You just give the number.
Okay. Amendment 1.
All right. Amendment 1 is freedom of speech, freedom of petitioning the government, and freedom of assembly. A lot of people don't know that assembly is included in that.
That's correct. It also includes freedom of religion. Government can't force religion.
I'm sorry, I left that out. Well, I covered that under speech. Yep.
Okay. Amendment 2.
The right to have bare arms in summertime so you don't get a burn on your arms.
See, this is why all the liberals in New York want to repeal it. No one wants to see a redneck without sleeves.
With bare arms, right?
It's disgusting. That's why they don't like it.
If you don't know what the Second Amendment is, folks, but move to France, okay?
Or
move to England and be gay, okay?
So Babylon Bee recently released an article saying that the mayor of London has decided to ban hands because too many fistfights have broken out.
Oh, he's a Muslim.
Amendment 3.
Oh, Amendment 3 is you cannot quarter soldiers. The government cannot force you to take a government soldier into your home and quarter them and to make them feel at home. Can't do that.
Well, allow me to actually read it.
Yeah.
F the British.
Okay.
And Amendment 4.
Okay, that follows on from 3. That's the protection against illegal search and entry.
That's correct. No warrant shall issue upon probate cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched, persons or things to be seized.
Right.
Amendment 5.
Amendment 5 is your protection against self-incrimination, double jeopardy, protection of due process, I believe, and also the right to a grand jury.
Yeah. A
lot of people don't know that you have a right to a grand jury. Yes. They don't know that.
And nor private property be taken for public use without just compensation.
Yes, that's the eminent domain clause, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Amendment 6.
Okay, that's the one that gives you the right to a speedy and public trial with an impartial jury of your peers and the right to legal counsel.
Very good. Very, very good. Amendment 7.
Here's where it gets tricky. The right to a trial by a jury in common law cases. Now, a lot of people don't know what common law cases are, okay?
A lot of people don't know what the Constitution is.
Right. Trial by jury in common law cases, you'd have to. We don't have time to explain what common law is, but
okay.
So I recommend you all study Amendment 7 because it gets a little technical and it's a little beyond my depth.
Okay. $20. Amendment 8.
Protection against. This goes to the death penalty application. Protection against cruel and unusual punishment, no excessive bail. It can also be imposed. A lot of people don't realize that the excessive bail clause exists in that.
Yep, that is absolutely correct.
Good.
Amendment 9.
Amendment 9 should be erased. No, actually, it is. It's a very, very. It's sort of like a silly putty. I call it the silly putty clause because all it says is that the enumeration of rights in the Constitution won't be used against the people.
So basically, the thing that preserves our freedom can't be used to enslave us. Great.
That's
good
correct.
to know. Amendment 10.
Amendment 10.
Dun.
Yeah.
It's a racist amendment, right?
Yeah. These are the powers that are reserved to the states.
Fun fact, Xavier Becerra, actually, the Attorney General of California, I personally got to meet him, and he specifically mentioned historically, Amendment 10 has been used. The 10th Amendment has been used to discriminate and justify.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But he said, but now we find we can use it against Donald Trump, our great oppressor. So, if anything, Donald Trump has taught liberals the beauty and value of the 10th Amendment. So
he's taught them the metaphysics and the mysticism of Soren Kierkegaard's statement that struggle makes you stronger and gives you meaning.
Amendment 11.
Okay, states are protected in most instances, protected against being sued by other states. By citizens of another state. I'm sorry.
You are right. You are right. Very, very good. Amendment XII.
Okay, so Amendment 12 is separating the ballot procedures for president and vice president, and then put them on as a team. It used to be you could have a president from one party, let's say Thomas Jefferson, and a vice president, Aaron Burr, was vice president. Of a different party. They ended that with the 12th Amendment.
Makes it much easier, doesn't that?
Well, yeah.
Amendment 13.
Oh, well, that's a famous one. The abolition of slavery.
Yep.
Abraham Lincoln got that one through.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, it's not necessarily the abolition of slavery. There is an exception. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime, or if the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist in the United States. So, if you commit a crime or some major crime, all bets are off on this constitutional protection. FYI, so don't do that. Amendment 14.
That granted citizenship for slaves and equal protection, established the principle of selective incorporation. That is a commerce aspect, and the 14th Amendment has been used extensively. Even though it's supposed to be interstate commerce, the reason why it's connected to the slavery issue is because slaves used to be commerce. They used to be tradable things. They were entities they were things that could be bought and sold. So that's why the 14th Amendment it's really a
big backhand slap to Dred V. Scott. Basically.
Right.
Kapow!
Right. Kapow. Exactly. Right. But it's often used together with the first and the Fourth Amendment cases involving freedoms, our individual freedoms. Often they'll just toss the 14th Amendment in there just to confuse everybody.
Okay. The 15th Amendment.
15th Amendment, XV, if you want to use the Roman numeral, XV. That, I believe, is African Americans could vote.
Well, technically.
Slaves.
Race and color do not count.
Right.
Amendment 16.
That's almost here. It's tax day, April 15th, right?
Hey.
Federal income tax. Whoever passed that.
It was passed on February 3rd, 1913.
That's right. And do you know who added power to it? It was Franklin Delano Roosevelt. His chief of staff concocted something called the payroll deduction. So before, let's say you work all week making tires in Detroit, and you're supporting 16 kids, before your wages get into your pocket, the tire company acts as a tax collector and gouges your paycheck and sends it to Washington. That is slavery.
So that you theoretically may get it back when you're old enough.
If you can fill out the forms.
Yes. Amendment 17.
This was the direct election of United States senators. Maybe people have forgotten, but in some states, senators were actually appointed by the governor or by the legislature. And the 16th Amendment put an end to that.
They were the elites. It's a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very surprising that most of our country's history, we did not get to directly elect our senators.
No, we did not.
They were the elites.
Elite of the elite. Yep.
Now they're the rabble. Like we get a bunch of rabble-y people in our Senate.
Yes.
Amendment 18.
The only amendment that has actually been repealed, that was Prohibition. It repealed the Volstead Act, which prohibited the sale of alcohol.
People forget that we actually did outlaw alcohol. People forget that happened.
Cheers, Alex.
Amendment 19.
One of my favorite amendments. The beginning of feminism.
Really?
Yep.
Your favorite? Your absolute favorite?
Yep, my favorite. Women now have the right to vote. Thank you for the 19th Amendment.
Yes, because they love you so much and they all vote for you.
Yeah, it's interesting that, let's see, if I go back to, the 15th Amendment gave African-American slaves the right to vote, and then the 19th Amendment. So it takes 4 amendments before the women can get the right to vote. Women forget that blacks had the right to vote before they did.
Black men.
Yep. Black
Well,
men.
that was passed August 18th, 1920 for the record.
Yep.
So that's what kicked off the Roaring 20s. Got it. Amendment 20.
Since we're talking about 20s, prior to the passage of the 20th Amendment, the president and the vice president's term of office began on March 4th. I know that because my brother was born on March 4th, and his birthday, even when I was a child, we were electing, and the swearing in of the president came on March 4th. But because of this amendment, the 20th Amendment, the date was moved up to January 20th.
I thought it would be another sexy amendment. You know why?
What was the date on that? I forget the date.
January 23rd, 1933.
1933. Okay, cool.
It's the sexy amendment. You know why?
Why?
It's Amendment XX.
XX.
Amendment 21.
I like it where your mind works. Ooh.
You have corrupted so much. Anyway, Amendment 21.
Well, 21 is the repeal of 18, the repeal of the Volstead Act.
Very good.
It took an amendment to actually do it. So, yeah.
Amendment 22.
22 presidents are limited to 2 terms and 2 terms only. Of course, AOC and the lunatic left maintained that the Republicans designed this 22nd Amendment to keep FDR from getting a 5th term. As it turns out, he had been dead for 2 years.
Actually, another interesting thing is that he was dead for much longer. This passed in 1951. I don't know if you know this. I believe Eisenhower was president.
That's right.
Both chambers of
No. Truman was still president.
Okay.
Truman was still president, and he was serving out Roosevelt's term.
Okay, because I'm pretty sure in the 50s the Democrats had control over Congress. So
They did.
Well, actually, it wasn't Republicans voting, trying to keep away another FDR. It was
Right.
It was just Americans realizing, this could be a problem later down. Let's fix it now.
Yeah, 8 years is enough for a president. That's enough.
That's plenty of years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Amendment 23.
That's a pretty recent amendment. That gave the District of Columbia, where you now reside, the right to vote in presidential elections.
Good for them. Amendment 24.
Poll taxes. A lot of people don't even know what a poll is. A poll is a place where people go to vote. Okay.
Yeah.
People don't even know what a pollster is. A pollster is a person who canvasses places where people go to vote. But the 24th Amendment abolished all poll taxes. You cannot require people to pay a tax in order for them to vote. That's illegal.
Amendment 25.
Okay, this is a little complicated. It establishes, I believe, the vice president as the successor if the president is unable to serve. Now, this is a very tricky thing because Ronald Reagan was, of course, wounded and almost died. And there was talk about who was the president. I remember that controversy raging on television at that time. You even had the Secretary of State Haig saying at a White House press conference, right now in Washington, I am the president. Of course, that was wrong. Wrong, General. Wrong, General. So
I'm almost certain he must have had Armenian ancestry with that much brat.
Succession goes: president dies, vice president becomes president immediately. Then, if that president dies or is incapacitated, then it's the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. It doesn't say that on the Constitution.
Right. Nancy Pelosi. Even if she's dead, she'll, which could be in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. Many say that she's already dead. So,
Amendment 26.
26 gave 18-year-olds the right to vote.
Correct. Amendment 27.
God, that's the last one too. That was the congressional pay raises, which they routinely pass every year, do not take effect only after the next election. That means that people who voted for the pay raise may not profit by that, because there's a codicil at law that you cannot vote to enrich yourself. So they pass that. Of course, it's meaningless because we now have professional politicians. They vote for the pay raise and then they get reelected. And then they get the raise next year.
And that, my dear friends, is technically not the Constitution. It's the Bill of Rights, which are amendments to the Constitution. So technically it is. Either way, make sure to comment and say how phenomenal constitutional mind we have on this show.
Three cheers, especially for the 21st Amendment, which is the repeal of the Volstead Act, which prohibits me from having a drink. Bye, Alex.
Toodles.